In this video, we're going to show you how to input the past medical history into the encounter note. So right here we have our problem list, history of present illness, review of systems. So we can go down here and you can see the past family or social history, and we can start with past medical history. You can see there's already been some generated here, but let's click on past medical history and you can see that the two previous problems, the arthritis and the cataract. So this had already been reviewed for today. If it hadn't been reviewed, then it would be blank. But since it's already been reviewed for today, showing the reviewed date here, it's already added it into our counter note. But let's say it hadn't, and it had a different review date. You can hit the reviewed button, and then it would generate the current day, and showing that you've reviewed the problems. Now there's also the add, the edit, the show inactive, and the history. If you wanted to see the inactive, you can click this button right here. These were previously created problems from the past medical history that are no longer, either the patient no longer has or were errors that were first put in and they were inactivated. So we can click this again and you can go back to our active problems. If we wanted to add a problem, we hit the add button. And here it pops up the common favorite problems. So these are ones that patients commonly have. So it's just kind of a favorites list for you to choose from. Or you can search here. So let's say we want to do asthma. We could click it here, and it brings up our asthma. But we can also just search for asthma. And you can see they have different types of asthma, but if we just want to keep the generic asthma, it lets you know that this is your favorite. So we can click the asthma button, and as you can see, there's different sections. So past medical history, it has yes, no, or unknown. You can have the description, the display. So these are something that will show with the problems. And then the body section. This is similar to other body sections in other parts of the encounter form, whereas it'll bring up common favorites associated with this problem. So none or both lungs for this problem. But you can add body section and search for new body sections if you want to say lung. And it brings you different features or different parts that you could choose. So let's hit close and just keep with both lungs. If you know the date of onset, the provider, the facility, you can add these here. The date of onset's similar to other ones where you can do the month, the year, the date, or you can simply just type it in like 9/10/2000, and then you have the date of onset. And then these are open text boxes for the provider, facility, and comment. But you can see there's no star next to them, so they're not required. So you can hit save and next if you want to add another problem. It brings you back to your favorites list. Let's say they also had depression. So we'll put the body section as none, and then we can hit save and close because that was the last one we wanted to add. And as you can see, asthma and depression have now been added to their problem list. We can hit save and close here, and you can see the past medical history has been inputted. So now, for the same thing with the family and social history, we can go to the past surgical history. And you can see it's the same window that generates just for past surgical history instead of medical history. And you can see the previous ones that have been inputted, they're reviewed. You click the button and it'll put the reviewed date as today. But when you first open it up, it'll only display the last reviewed date. Anytime you make a change, though, it'll assume that you've reviewed all their problems and choose for today's date. And they have a show an active button like the other sections. You can click on it and see the inactive surgical history. So these are more likely errors that were typed in. And we can click this again, and we can hit the add button. And as you can see here, now you have the past surgical history added. So you can have the favorites again that have been created for past surgical history. So appendectomy, we could click appendix structure for the body section. These are all the same sections except for, as you can see here, in medical history the body section was not required, but for surgical history it requires you to input the body section. And the date of service, it also is required. So we'll put 1/1/2001 to show that this was done in January 1st of 2001. And then these, the provider, facility, and comment, they're not required, but if you do them, you can add them in for the problem. So you can hit save and next if you wanted to go to another one, or you can hit save and close if you are done with the past surgical history. Let's just hit close because we don't have any more to add. And you can see appendectomy has been added before, but here is when we added the appendectomy and had the date of service here. And I'll organize it by the dates. If you want to edit one of them, you can click this, hit the edit button, and as you can see here, it brings up in a separate window those same sections that you can choose to edit if you like. So you can hit save and close, and you finish the past surgical history. And now we can do the same thing with family history and social history. So with family history, you can see the previously created ones. There's still the review, add, edit, show, and active buttons. They're all the same as with the other ones. Let's hit the add button, and it's a different favorites list, but works similarly as the other history sections. So you add arthritis, asthma, atrial fibrillation. So let's add atrial fibrillation. Now the only required one over here for this particular section is the relationship. So you want to say who had atrial fibrillation. So let's say the father had atrial fibrillation. So once you click that, you can hit save and next. If you have another one to add, so let's say cataract, and we can say the mother and father both had cataracts, and then we can hit save and close, and you can see they've been added here. And then the review date shows us today because they had been previously reviewed today, but even if we had not hit the reviewed button, since we had added problems, it would have shown today's date. And we can hit save and close. And as you can see, we just did the medical history, surgical history, family history, and social history, all part of their overall family, social, and medical history. So this is how you input the medical history in for a patient. Thank you.